I'm Darcy Zabel, your host of Voices of Real Estate, and this week I'm sitting down with Preston Moss, President of Blanchard and Calhoun Insurance Company, and we're going to be talking about changes in the state with tort reform, what consumers and real estate agents need to know, places where you can better serve your clients, how he has seen the industry change, and what's coming ahead for all of us. So thanks for joining us. Thanks, Preston, for joining me today. So let's learn a little bit about you. So you're president of Blanchard and Calhoun Insurance. How long have you been in insurance, and what got you in insurance?
Well, I got in insurance because what I really wanted to do, I wanted to be a large band broker, big music broker.
Yeah.
And my dad talked me out of that, and he was in our agency. And so I went to work first for an insurance company as an underwriter. And then I came over to the agency side. And September 1st would be 45 years.
Wow.
With Blanchard and Calhoun.
Wow, you must have liked insurance.
Yeah, I do love insurance. Yes, I do.
You might be one of the few people that loves insurance. We all love it when we need it.
I love it because every day is different.
That's right.
Every single day is different.
That's the same thing in the real estate world.
Yes.
You born and raised in Augusta?
I was.
Yep. Mm-hmm. Good. Favorite place on earth, Augusta?
I used to think not when I was at college at Georgia, University of Georgia.
Yeah. Go Dogs.
I thought I'd move somewhere else, but after coming back to Augusta, geographically, it's no better place. You 2.5 hours to probably 20 different beaches, 3 hours, 3.5 to Florida, 2 to the mountains, 2 to Atlanta.
Right.
It couldn't be better placed. So.
You're exactly right. Our weather here is decent, and you can get anywhere. And if you need to go further, it's real easy to get to Columbia or Atlanta to get on an airplane.
Yeah.
So,
and 4 distinct seasons.
Right.
The only bad thing is maybe August.
It's a little warm. August sometimes is challenging. You're right about that. But I got affordability, all of it. It's a great place to call home. Okay, so 45 years in insurance. What would you say is the biggest change you've seen in the industry during your time?
Well, when I first started, it was, say, 8:30 to 5.
Right.
And after 5 o'clock, there weren't pagers, there weren't cell phones, none of that.
Yeah.
I am ancient.
Pagers.
But then pagers happened. But now in the capacity that I'm in, not as president, but as someone in sales, is 24/7.
Right.
It's nonstop. There is no time off.
Right.
You're reachable, accessible, and people want to hear from you, especially if they have a problem.
If they have a problem, absolutely. Brad Thomas with Blanchard and Calhoun Insurance, he's my insurance guy. And I got in my first accident, knock on wood, and I was able to call Brad at 7:30 in a freak out. What do I do?
Yeah, absolutely.
And he answered the phone.
Well, that distinguishes us from others. Services, people don't care about the piece of paper you give them, the policy.
Right.
It's the service that counts.
Right.
So you got to be top on that. And we are, and we try to be the best.
Also, yeah. And you carry so many different companies.
We do. We represent more companies. We represent pretty much every company with the exception of 2 or 3.
Right.
So we have the ability to market the policy for our personal and commercial customers and bring them the best solution.
Right. And you're not just in Georgia. You do South Carolina?
Actually, we're nationwide.
Nationwide.
We're in 50 states.
That's right. That's right. My sister actually got a quote from Brad in North Carolina for insurance. Yeah. Yeah, because we do love BNC Insurance. Answers the phone, all the companies, you're getting the right price and what your coverage is going to be. So.
And we do literally answer the phone.
That's right.
You don't have to punch your way through.
Punch 1, punch 2, punch 27, and then somebody answers the phone and you're, I don't know what you're saying to me.
Exactly.
So, and you're right down the road on Davis, so I know how to find you. Right. It is really good for a peace of mind from a consumer standpoint to work with a company like that. Speaking of all the companies y'all carry, How has technology reshaped how insurance is quoted, underwritten, managed for, everyday consumers?
Well, it has changed dramatically. You know, when I first started, the carrier, you were the front person for the carrier, and they trusted you to do the right thing, place the best clients with them, make sure it's properly underwritten on the front line. And today, there's a lot of technology involved. There's aerial imaging, and they use that, for instance, to see if there are trees overhanging on the house. And there's all types of technology that's used today that wasn't used in the past. It helps the carrier better underwrite the risk, maybe sometimes over underwrite it,
Mm-hmm.
but underwrite it properly so they can make sure that they're not exposing themselves to a potential loss.
Absolutely. We've been talking a lot in the real estate office about the imaging and the trees on the
Yes.
roofs.
Yes.
That has become a hot topic for us in real estate.
It has, and we are working to try to bring that back into a realistic approach for our
Right.
customers, because I mean we even had one company that said, we want you to get a tree guy out there to assess it. And I said, well, that's great if you want to pay for it. My customers are
We
going to pay
love
for it. Yeah. Get an arborist. Yeah. Well, you can get one.
It's funny.
Oh,
I will say Robbie Moore also with you guys, he comes to all of our
Yes.
sales meetings and he is very good about
yes.
keeping us up to date, which is how I know about the trees
Yeah.
on the roofs. I think that's
Yeah.
how that conversation got started. So things that realtors should be paying attention to for their clients, but also what should customers be paying attention to when it comes to their coverage in 2025?
Well, the majority of people don't understand insurance. They don't want to understand it. But it's our job to protect their assets, and it's our job to make sure they are properly covered and not offer or sell them a cheap, stripped policy just to get the premium lower. The last thing we want to do is have a customer call and say, hey, this happened the other day. And then we have to say, well, we could have done that. We could have added that endorsement, but we didn't. And so we don't go there. We do it right. And we add all the endorsements on that we have seen that without would be a financial problem to the customer. So we work hard to make sure they are properly, and we're protecting their assets.
Absolutely.
And so, again, the customer really doesn't understand it, so they have to trust you.
That's right.
And we in return have to do the right thing and make sure they're properly insured with little to no risk for loss.
Right. So this year, in fact, I think I just saw it on Facebook. I saw Brian Kemp sign SB 68
And 69.
and 69.
Right. Yeah. So
Can you talk a little bit about that?
About a year ago, Brian and I are kind of acquaintances and, text and talk about topics. So about a year ago, I brought in the CEO of Cincinnati Insurance Company and the CEO of Selective Insurance Company, along with the insurance commissioner, John King, and Brian Kemp was kind enough to host us at his office. We came up with a strategy, which many, including the Independent Insurance Agents of Georgia, heavily pushed and helped lobby to the legislators to get them to pass tort reform. We knew it was going to be a tough process, and it was, but it had to happen because insurance rates have been skyrocketing every year. And when you go up 10 to 30% every single year, compound that number, it's unaffordable.
Mm-hmm.
It's unaffordable for anybody. But it's really unaffordable for probably 85, 90% of the population in this state. And it had to happen. 68 had some key components in it. One of them was biggest was premise liability. Had we had that, then CVS Pharmacy would not had through the appellate process to pay $45 million when two trespassers harmed each other on the premise of one of their drugstores. That would have not happened. It's hard for a company to pay $45 million. So there were some other components of 68 that were good. The bill, when it went through the process, wasn't diminished, but for one thing, and that was a sexual component. If somebody was unlawfully, abusing or whatever, and the sexual deal, primarily with children or whoever else. So, but that was in there, but streamlined, and then 69 dealt with third-party financing of lawsuits. So they put some guardrails there to contain that, which it had to be because there were third parties literally financing lawsuits.
Absolutely.
For the return, the ROI. So it was a great bill and had to happen. Now, it will take 2 to 3 years for this to filter through the process to get the actuarial information for the carriers to determine how much to reduce rates. But it right now will certainly open up the underwriting appetite for insurance companies in Georgia.
Right.
And Brian's deal with it, one of Brian's key deals with it was that it was dampening companies from coming into the state of Georgia to do business. Georgia was the best state, known as the U.S. as the best state for businesses to be operating in. Well, when you're the best state, but you're the number one worst judicial hellhole in the U.S.
Right.
And we skipped over California and New York and states that you wouldn't believe skipped over to be in first place. It's great to be in first place in
Except
football,
for on this.
but not that.
Yes, yes. In January, I was at the Georgia Real Estate Conference, Georgia Association of Realtors Conference, and we do our days at the Dome. And we were hardcore speaking with those legislators, wanted these reforms to happen. I mean, for us in real estate and for our clients and these people we do business with. I mean, crazy. We needed this.
Yeah.
So it is a big win for Georgia.
Huge win.
Yeah.
Yeah. We're going to miss Brian. I can tell you that.
Yeah. I believe you are absolutely correct.
But I think he'll probably run.
You think?
I think so. That's just my personal gut feeling against Ossoff, and he'll easily win, I think.
Yeah. Yeah.
But he has been one of the best governors Georgia has seen ever.
He has been. He has been great to Georgia. Got us opened right back up at COVID when we all really needed to get back into business. And I mean, he has been great for Georgia.
And the state has so much surplus in cash.
That's right. That's right. Yeah. I mean, I think like for the first time ever, I think he even sent us like a refund check for too much taxes. One now.
He's sending a $500, joint married filing jointly. You get $500 back.
Yeah. It's just amazing. It's just amazing. Hey, we got too much money. We're actually going to give it back to you.
He's doing the right thing.
That's right. That's right. Yep. I think it's made him very popular.
No question.
Yeah. So good. I hope he sticks in it. I need him to stay around here.
I hope he runs.
We need him here in Georgia.
Yep.
So great. Okay. Well, let's talk about, what do you think some of the biggest misconceptions people have about in the insurance industry?
Well, again, they really don't understand it. So they're all misconceptions. I mean, they think it's just another expense, and it is an expense, and it's a big expense, especially right now. But they don't really understand the direct need for it until something bad happens.
Right.
And then they realize, without that, they're looking at financial disaster. So that's, it's hard. You gotta make them understand what it's doing for them. It's protecting their financial assets. That's the key thing.
Right. You don't need it till you need it, but when you need it, you really need it.
And then complying with state laws. as
Right.
far as auto insurance goes.
Absolutely. Auto
Yeah.
insurance. We all got to have
Right.
it. 'Cause, I mean, getting in a car accident, like, oof,
Right.
you need it. You don't need it until you need it.
That's right.
But when you need it, you need it.
Exactly.
Yeah. And, one of the things that I learned is like even the policies you don't think about, like we got a golf cart
Yeah.
and I didn't have golf cart insurance. I
Right.
didn't even know golf cart insurance was a thing.
Oh, yeah.
And Robbie came in. I had him come in when we did a post-license class for some of our new agents. When they're licensed under a year, they have to have 25-hour class. And he came in and started talking about golf cart insurance. And I was like, golf cart insurance? You best believe we got golf cart insurance.
Oh, yeah, you need it.
Like his story with the golf cart insurance, I was texting my husband while Robbie's talking. I'm like, we need golf cart insurance.
Right.
Yeah. And I think that's like, I think maybe maybe there's other people like me who just, now it makes sense, right? You're driving it down the road, it's
Right.
out, got kids on it.
Public roads.
Yeah. Public roads. Well, we take ours camping.
Yeah.
And so we go to these campgrounds and, you're at the mercy of not only whatever crazy you do, but whatever these crazy people around you
That's
do.
right.
So
Exactly.
anyway, in your experience, where do people often overinsure or worse, underinsure themselves?
Well, that's the majority of it. They underinsure. I don't really see people overinsured, with one exception maybe. If they're scheduling items like jewelry or silverware or guns or something like that, they may go overboard in that, and they really need to take some risk at that. Don't insure items of smaller value, to
Right.
keep your premiums down and
Right.
not have claims.
If you can afford to replace
Yes.
it, then
Yeah.
probably don't need insurance on it.
Underinsuring, we see that every day. And what we see in that is that people who do this online, who buy their insurance online from online providers, they buy the minimum limits of liability for auto insurance, which is $25,000 each person for bodily injury. That's what you do to others, the medical bills, court costs, attorney's fees, lawsuit judgments. And in Georgia, it's $50,000 per accident bodily injury. And then on property damage liability, what you do to the other car or more than one car or building or whatever is $25,000. So that's the formula for bankruptcy.
Mm-hmm.
And we won't, in our agency, we will not do that. We will not do those low limits. And we've seen cases, many, where things happen and they're grossly underinsured. And then you have to file bankruptcy to protect what you got and what you want to keep.
Yeah, that's right. You could have worked your whole life or something, been oof.
Yeah.
Crazy.
And so then you file bankruptcy and then you go back into the insurance marketplace to get it right. And of course, they credit score and
That's
they
right.
check your fund, all of that.
That's right.
And then, I had one guy tell me, this insurance is too much. I'm just going to self-insure the house for a while. I said, well, if you do that, when you decide to go back into the insurance marketplace, nobody wants you when you had no insurance before.
Right.
Nobody wants you. So
think about, we just had a major disaster here in Augusta.
Many.
Yeah.
The last 10 years.
Yeah. Well, yeah. But even hello, hurricane that nobody saw coming.
Yes.
Shoo. I bet that was a busy week for y'all.
No, it still is.
Still busy.
Yeah, it will be for at least a year from September 27th. We're dealing with it every day, every single day. And it was the most catastrophic event I've seen in my life. And for an inbound, Gulf-bound storm to travel 175 miles and maintain that intensity, which I also think there were many, many tornadoes involved in that storm.
100%.
Because you could see areas that were just...
You could see the pine trees twisted.
Or big oak trees snapped in half. 100-mile-an-hour winds are devastating, but not like we saw in these... with the tornadic activity.
It was unreal.
Unbelievable.
Yeah. You got up that morning. I know we got up that morning and first light. I feel kind of stupid now because if there had been a tornado warning, we'd have gone and sat in the laundry room with our kids. But we were just sitting in our living room glass all down the backside of my house, just hanging out, right? Because it was, I mean, nope, in the dark, obviously, but
Yeah.
I mean, holy moly Moses, like
It's
it was just
amazing
a
that
different day.
more people didn't die.
It really is.
Thankful that
It
that didn't
really
happen.
is. It
But
really
we
is.
did lose a lot of people, and a friend. I lost a friend in that
Hurricane.
storm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was just, I mean, I can't even imagine. I know we sent Brad a text to ask him a question about the fence or something, and he gave as he is, he's our trusted real estate advisor,
Right.
in our house, and he gave us some advice on how to carry on. But I can't even imagine how busy he was and how busy y'all are, and all of it. I mean, y'all probably had to leave town to get to work because there was no power or internet here.
I had to go to a farm that I have where I have Starlink and I have a whole house generator, which came in really handy. But it started at 4 a.m. with the phone calls that morning, and it hadn't stopped.
Yeah.
Now it's gotten way, way better over the weeks, but those first month, 2 months, it was nonstop, and it was all day, all night, and just we've never worked that hard ever. I mean, I couldn't work any harder than we're working. So, but it was our duty to do that. That's what we were there for. So we just sucked it up and took care of it.
Yeah. Hopefully we are done with that type of needed response for a while.
Yeah.
I mean, I hope that was my one and done.
Me too.
My parents live on the coast. Like, I've seen hurricanes.
Oh, well,
we've had damage from hurricanes.
Oh, you don't know this?
Never.
We're now coastal.
Oh.
In the insurance industry.
Yeah. As a result of this?
Yeah, we're coastal now.
Right. Okay. If I close my eyes and I go over to the lake, maybe I can just pretend it's the waves crashing on the beach.
That's right.
Funny. Okay. Well, so how do you recommend people approach insurance as part of their financial planning?
Well, they got to find somebody that they can trust to do the right things. It is shockingly amazing how many people don't have an umbrella. An umbrella is excess liability over the auto liability limits that you have and also over your home liability. So, today with the tort actions and the lawsuits and all that, what you have underneath on your auto policy and on your home simply isn't enough. So you can buy an umbrella. It starts at $1 million, and you can buy up to, say, $10 million or more if you really need it. We can layer that coverage. But that's the really safest way to protect your assets, because you don't know. You don't know what you're going to do. You don't know what your child's going to do. And it's just, I mean, if we knew all that, we wouldn't have to buy insurance at all. So
that's right. If we had a crystal ball, we wouldn't need it.
No, be out of a job.
That's right. Unfortunately, I don't have a lot of faith in crystal balls.
No, me either.
For palm reading, none of that. I think I'm probably going to keep my insurance policies going.
Me too.
Okay, so let's circle back into real estate. What should first-time homebuyers understand about homeowners insurance that often gets just overlooked?
Well, they have to have it if they have a loan.
Yeah.
And they should have it if they don't. And so I'd say 98% of them have loans, I would guess. And so the mortgage company is going to require it. And if the problem with that is if their policy lapses, then the mortgage company has insurance to protect them and only them. You are protected. So you got to have it. And it's just part of the process.
Right. How does insurance play a role in the real estate transaction process that agents and clients just might not immediately realize?
I'm not really sure. I mean, they have to have it, so I'm not sure that it's part of the process.
Yeah.
That's all I could say.
For us, what I'm recommending my agents do is you get the house under contract, you call the insurance company, because with the roof thing, I mean, it's like, is it 10 years?
It depends.
Okay.
It could be 10 to 15 years. And, well, first of all, let's go back.
Okay.
It never should have been replacement cost. Your
Oh,
30-year-old roof, you shouldn't get a brand new roof
Right, it's
because you had a
maintenance.
hailstorm on your 30-year worn out roof.
Right.
So that's, with the market as bad as it is right now in insurance, that is one of the ways they could change to really properly underwrite the risk and not buy claims, which is what they've done with roofs forever. So what they do is they go from, based on the age, it will change from replacement to an actual cash value, which is a depreciated payment
Mm-hmm.
in the event of a claim, which is what it should
Yeah,
be
as it should be,
from the
right?
beginning.
Because
Yeah.
you got a 30-year. I
Right.
mean, insurance is designed to get you back to where you were at the day that the catastrophic, hideous thing happened.
No better, no worse.
That's right. Like,
Yeah.
so if you had a 30-year-old roof that got hit by hail, our goal is to get you back to the 30-year roof before the hail.
Right. That's right. Not
Right.
a brand new roof.
If you got a 15-year-old car, which
Right.
maybe a 15-year-old car doesn't have, it's not worth much anyway, but insurance is not designed to buy you a
No.
2025,
No,
pickup truck when your 15-year-old pickup truck got totaled.
you couldn't afford
It
it.
could buy you a 15-year-old
No,
pickup
you
truck.
could not afford it.
Insurance companies,
Yeah.
I mean, they are for-profit industries.
Right.
Like, we're all here to make money.
Right.
So as it should be, right? Like,
Right.
not a nonprofit. Insurance not nonprofit, real estate's not nonprofit, Walmart's not nonprofit. We're all here to make a living.
We had two large hail storms in Augusta, and the biggest one, I have a customer that has his whole roof is copper.
Wow.
It cost $650,000 to replace his roof. $650,000.
Huh.
So the insurance company, and then slate roofs are difficult too, and the industry really doesn't want to do slate roofs. So they've tightened up underwriting.
Wow.
Yeah.
As they, a 600, that might be the most expensive roof I have ever heard.
That's the most expensive I've heard of.
I bet
for
it was
a house.
beautiful.
Oh yeah, of course it is. Of course it is.
I bet that is a beautiful roof.
Yeah,
But
it is.
whoosh, I mean,
Yeah.
$650, you can buy quite a nice house here in Augusta.
You could.
Wow.
Right.
Good for him.
Yeah.
Happy for him. I bet it is beautiful. Okay, so what advice would you give real estate agents to help them better serve their clients?
Well, asbestos is a problem. So,
Oh man, that's something I really haven't thought about in a while.
it's a problem. So that, and older homes present a lot of difficulties with insurance companies. I mean, if you have wiring that's really old, plumbing that's really old, they all want to know how old the wiring and plumbing is, what it's composed of, knob and fuse. Nobody wants that. And they want to know how old the HVAC is. So that's part of the underwriting process. And so if everything is really old, you're going to narrow dramatically the appetite of the insurance marketplace, and it becomes expensive and
Right.
difficult. So,
Right.
and sometimes they require and mandate modifications, which
Right.
can be very expensive.
Well,
So,
You think about it like something that there's more opportunity for failure.
yes,
So,
yes, there is. New homes are easy.
yeah, new homes
Yeah.
built to today's, codes change, and there's a reason
Right.
that code changes.
Exactly.
And I mean, technology changes. We learn so much. If not, they'd still be, what is it, like putting iodine on everything before
Right.
they, all that.
Right.
So thank God that technology is forever changing, but in our homes too, which has to, and
Yes.
insurance, it totally makes sense.
It does.
So let's talk about some risk in our changing world. With climate change, rising repair costs, and unpredictable weather events, how is risk being reassessed? Well, in today's world, I mean, pretty much age and change and technology, right?
Yeah. I mean,
we pretty much hit all that.
And they're underwriting severely, as they should. I mean, Augusta, being in Georgia, a difficult tort state,
Getting
it's
better.
changing, getting better.
Better.
And then we have had in the last 10 years, we've had a huge ice storm, 2 hailstorms, a couple snowstorms. Snow we don't do well with either.
Nobody in the South does well with
and
snow.
a massive hurricane. So
we have it all here in Augusta.
Unfortunately, in that regard, yes, we do. So it's been tough.
Hail, snow, hurricane.
Yeah.
Eesh.
You remember the ice storm, don't you?
Well, so I actually moved here. The ice storm, I think, was like in January.
Mm-hmm.
I moved here in April.
Yeah.
So I missed the ice storm.
Oh, you saw some of the results.
I was in North Carolina.
Yeah.
And I did. So we lived outside of Athens and Winder.
Right.
Being a UGA guy, you probably heard of Winder.
Right.
But we lived out there, and we had an ice storm hit in 2000. All the radio station called it Ice Jam 2000. And I'll never forget that.
It's scary stuff.
Yeah, I'll never forget that. My dad actually went to like a vendor show in Vegas.
Right.
We drove him out there the night before to the airport. He flew to Vegas. My mom, my sister, and I sat in the house with no power. We did have a wood heater. So we did have heat in the living room, but that was it, because it was a whole, aside from the wood heater, electric stove, all that. Sat in the dark, freezing for a week, left to go pick him up a week later, came home, and the power was on.
Yeah.
We were like, Daddy's home. We're going to get the generator hooked up. And the power was on. We got home. Wow. And so I will pretty much never let him forget that for my entire life.
I bet.
So,
well, going back to Helene, as bad as it was in Augusta and around Augusta, we were fortunate because most everybody had insurance. We have an office in Asheville, North Carolina.
Oh.
The problem with North Carolina was it was flood.
It was.
Why would you have flood if you're on the side of a mountain?
Yeah.
So nobody had flood. So those people were devastated. Lost lives. They lost everything they owned.
Whole towns.
Lost everything. And with no recourse.
Yeah.
Other than FEMA's $750.
Yeah, which does nothing. No, that's just like kind of a kick in the gut.
To make you mad.
That's right. That's right. And I wholly believe that there are some, Asheville is a place that my family, we love Asheville. We are forever going to Asheville. It's just so beautiful. Obviously being North Carolina, love North Carolina. And man, holy moly, like the areas that we used to go traveling to North Carolina, and I say used to, I don't really know why. Just because some of them are like gone. Which is just,
roads, small towns, gone.
City, it was city. The towns, you're right, gone.
Yeah.
And the devastation. We were blessed. It did not feel blessed that morning, but the people in North Carolina in those mountains, the mudslides and all that. Is there mudslide coverage? You get that? Like you get flood coverage, hurricane coverage? Is mudslide coverage
if it's driven by flood, that's
then it doesn't. So we're done with that.
No.
Okay. That's unfortunate.
Right.
Man, holy moly Moses. Just such a crazy time. Yeah. So what red flags should agents watch for? Well, we've talked about in these older homes and investment properties, the wiring and the updating of the systems. So I think we've pretty well covered that. I'm going through my list, make sure I didn't miss anything.
Absolutely.
Let's see here. Well, I think you've hit most of it. So let's hit some of your just perspectives, Preston's opinions.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. If you could change one thing about how the public views insurance, what would it be?
Well, I think it would be that, they really need to understand the purpose of while we're helping them is to protect their financial assets. And a lot of people don't. They just think it's, like tax. It's another expense because most people don't have claims.
Right.
So they're going, they don't think it's a benefit until something bad happens.
Right.
So that's probably, what I believe they see. And
yeah, then there's like, I know Robbie told us a story. Well, geez, remember the extreme cold we had here?
Mm-hmm.
Was it 2 years ago? Christmas or Thanksgiving? It was a holiday.
Christmas.
And Robbie came
Christmas
home.
Day.
Yes. Okay. So I wasn't. Where was I? Was I in North Carolina?
Do we remember all
or may
this
have been
stuff?
in Iowa. My in-laws are in Iowa. But But I remember Robbie telling us a story about being in Disney World and finding out from his neighbor's house was flooded.
Oh,
I mean,
destroyed.
yeah.
Right.
And so I'm sure he's going to happily pay his insurance premiums. He said he could pay it for 50 years and they'd never have made money off of it.
Yeah. Well, I mean, we have things like
crazy.
We have things like flow by mowing, which I have on
I
my
don't
house.
have any idea what
basically
that is.
what that does, it's hooked up to your Wi-Fi and it's hooked up to the main water line coming in. So I have on my iPhone that app, and it will tell me, it will call me, text me, and email me if it suspects something bad.
What is this app? Hold on.
It's flow by mower. It's to turn your water off. So what happens is you buy it, install it, and for the first 2 weeks, it learns you. It learns how much you use the sink, how much you use the shower, toilet, etc. So it knows what your average consumption is. And I've had times where I've been out of town and it notified me, and if you don't respond to it in a certain amount of time, it will shut your water off.
Man, I think I need that.
It's the best, and it's cheap. It's
I
like
just sent a text to myself.
I think it was like the product is about $400 to $500.
Yeah.
And then the plumber charges about that it's about $1,000 investment, but your insurance company will give you a discount.
Oh, will they?
Yes.
Huh.
It's Flow by Mowing, FLO by Mowing, MOEN.
Yeah. I just sent that to myself.
Fabulous.
I'm totally going to be looking that one up. I mean, we control everything else from our phone in our house. I had no idea we could control the water.
You know what? Water, we've had many houses, total losses with water. Total losses.
Water gets in it, it's done.
It's done because you got to rip out the sheetrock, the insulation because of the mold and all of that.
Flooring.
I had some houses were built with hot water heaters in the attic.
We had a house like that.
Yeah.
My husband and I, our first house.
That's a formula.
Right. When my husband had the house when we got married, this was in Raleigh, and my dad came over, we got ready to sell the house to move down here. And he was like, he's an HVAC contractor. He was like, why is your water heater in the attic? This is the worst design. We were looking at new construction. He was like, do not ever buy a house with a water heater in the attic.
No.
But I mean, hindsight, I was like, I don't know. My husband, I think, bought the house. He was 21. So he's young, didn't know. You don't know what you.
No.
I mean, there's just so much stuff that you should know, right? Like it should be common sense that water heaters regularly, bust at some point and then water goes down. But I guess maybe when you're 20, you think it's not going to happen. And we were lucky it didn't happen while we lived there. I have no idea what happened afterwards, but water heater in the attic.
I mean, even when they pan them, sometimes the pan drain gets clogged up.
Oh, yeah.
And that does
same thing in HVAC. They stick that emergency pan in there.
Right.
But at some point, if the float switch and all that, you got water. It makes no sense.
Yeah. Blow by my
Here we are. I'm going to get that. I'm going to get that. I'm not playing with that. Like water getting in the house is like, if I come home and there's like the sprinklers are leaking, I'm like,
yeah,
because even your yard, I don't like a soggy yard.
No.
So that. Thank you for teaching me something today. That's right. It absolutely will. How cool. Thank you. So, well, any final thoughts on what does being well covered mean to you?
That just means, trusting your advisor, being properly covered. Your advisor is going to ask you all types of questions,
right,
to find out all what you have, your exposures to risk, and all of that. It's just choosing the right advisor, people that care, people that are going to be there 2 weeks from now. People with a great reputation, and we get a lot of business from referrals. We get a whole bunch of business from referrals.
Right.
Doing the right thing.
That's
telling
all
it takes.
I can be your poster child for BNC Insurance. Like I tell everybody I come in contact with, about Brad answering the phone, and then my engineering husband, he'll send him a spreadsheet with the different carriers so that my engineering husband can compare all of that.
Yeah.
I got to tell you, it's it's doing insurance like I've never done insurance before.
Thank you.
Living in Augusta and getting hooked up with Brad. And I think I got hooked up with Brad on his second day.
Yeah.
I think I called the office and said, I don't know anybody. Just give me the new guy, whoever that is.
He does a great job.
He does. And Robbie does a great job talking with our agents.
Yes.
It's very lucky in the real estate industry to have such a relationship with the insurance.
No.
Well,
thank you.
In insurance. But, really thank you for coming and sitting down with me and talking about all this, giving us a little bit of insight on the tort. Go Brian. And all of it just is, and telling me about Flow by Mowing.
Yeah, my pleasure. Happy to be here.
They ought to send us like a, advertising check or something.
Exactly.
That's right. But yeah, thank you. And I look forward to continuing to do business with BNC Insurance. And, I hope everybody else does.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Greatly appreciated.